Hey, what's good guys? Today we are back with another video, and today I wanted to cover something that's been pretty much blowing up as of recent, and that is Montell Fish. And for those of you who don't know who Montell Fish is, part of the reason why I'm making this video just because Montell's rise to where he is now has been quite the journey, and I think starting back from his bedroom gospel days, or even before that, I mean, 6 years in the making is what you're seeing right now. And from his humble beginnings with just Rapzilla and putting his first music video out there and just getting a following off that to naturally and organically just cultivating and building up his fan base. Montell carried years of an already established fan base with his music onto TikTok, which I mean propelled him to just getting a licensing deal with Sony, I believe, and also just getting millions of streams thanks to TikTok. But now to go from that to basically being on Jimmy Fallon, I mean, Montell has pretty much reached the pinnacle in terms of just career success. Now, at some point, I'll probably do a more in-depth breakdown of Montell and just his entire come up and story and just covering every detail. But I just wanted to put this video out just to more so give a brief overview of his timeline, because I mean, when you really think about it, guys, to go from starting out with just experimenting with just Christian rap, and that's pretty much where he started off with, just more so in that CHH space, to basically taking not only his own style of music and, you know, merging it with lo-fi and making I would argue a whole new lane and genre in the Christian music space, but just taking influences and traces of that neo-soul lo-fi sound into literally every single album he's dropped, from his As We Walk Into Now Forever days to Bedroom Gospel, which is a lot of people's favorite album, to It's Beautiful, to Night and Days in 2019, which is for sure one of my favorite albums from him, Bedroom Lo-Fi, and I mean now Jamie. I mean, it's definitely been quite the roller coaster for Montell. And along the way, what made Montell unique as well wasn't just his ability to branch into different sounds and make quality music, but also just really being himself, and also along the way with not just releasing music, but sharing people's journey. I mean, if you guys remember like 2017, 2018, 2019 even, Montell did a lot of vlogging. It's still down in 2020 and I haven't heard much since, but Montell did lots of vlogging, just sharing his experience as a believer and really not holding back, literally talking about anything from just fighting pornography and just how to shake that off, and just his own thoughts dealing with anxiety. Really anything in the book that any believer was afraid to talk about, Montell was as open as can be and just transparent about these things. And he really just gained a lot of respect for that and just building a following off that. And not only, you know, reaching people through his music, but also in video form as well. It's really wholesome to see this growth, especially considering if you followed him from the very start. You know, Montell was as humble as humble gets. And with him just talking about wanting him to be used by God and to sincerely wanting to just reach people with the gospel and everything like that, to where he is now is pretty just amazing, honestly. And for God to just take him from there and to put him in different places, Montell's affected and just influenced a lot of people. And at this point in his timeline, I mean, with the release of Jamie, I know one thing I would see constantly, even prior to the release of Jamie, was Montell posting just a string of just, I guess to a lot of people, questionable posts with not posting as much Christian content as used to and everything like that, or posting clips or pictures at venues, events, music festivals that you could say are quote unquote secular, with affiliations to like other non-Christian artists and everything like that. Really what people have to understand is, I mean, people have to realize a few things, especially coming from, you know, the Christian fan base, which he's cultivated for years up to this point. But it's that, for one, your favorite Christian artist that you're used to getting most of your music and content from, just because they go out to these secular spaces doesn't mean that it's indicative that they're walking away from the faith and that they're just completely ungodly. I don't think we should at all just drop the ball and just go to the absolute that they're just not Christian anymore and they don't make Christian music and somehow they're like tainted by being around these other secular artists. If anything, it should be a win-win situation, not only for just Montell's success in general and as to where he is now, but just the fact that this is an opportunity for Montell to play in front of people who are typically far away from God and to be around these spaces as well. It gives listeners just an opportunity to not only listen to his performances, but also dig a bit deeper into his older music and discography and just figure out and find out that, oh wow, he makes Christian music, and they can just indulge in his older music if they're really into it. Also, people might not like this, but your favorite artist, whether, and this applies to Christian artists or non-Christian artists, but your favorite artists, as the years go by, they will change and go into different directions depending on the season of life they're in. I know people might not like the fact that Montell has been grieving lately and everything like that, and just posting seemingly less Christian content. And when I mean less, I don't mean posting things that are indicative that he is boldly going against his beliefs, but just in terms of the frequency, just posting less things related to that and more so things that he's personally going through. I mean, before we jump the gun and make such inflammatory statements that he doesn't make Christian music anymore, I think we have to step back and realize that Montell is really no different than us, and he is a walking form and example of someone showing us what life's journey from the start to where he is now as a believer really looks like. And I do understand the fact that he's not, I guess you could say, quote unquote, on fire for God as much as he was like 3, 4, 5 years ago, with keeping up with all these vlogs and everything like that, and making, bedroom gospel and that type of sound. But we have to realize that just like us as well, we're going to go through seasons and ups and downs in life. If your favorite artist is constantly evangelizing and putting out a lot of content that resonates with you, it is great to see, but it won't be the case for their entire career. Your favorite artist is going to go through different seasons, and some seasons they might be on fire putting out a lot of Christian content, and other seasons, if they're just under the water and just not doing so great, they're gonna pour more of their God-given creativity into other areas of their lives. Montell, to me, making music about grieving a passing relationship, to me, is not a proclamation that he's walking away from God and everything like that. Throughout the album, you can get a sense of where his head is at spiritually, as he's dropping bits and pieces of just scripture verses and just his thought process as he's going through the process of losing this person that's known as Jamie in the album, especially towards the end of the album, when he literally at the very end of the conclusion just talked about the passing fact that he is not God himself and he's not in control of his circumstances, and that really only God is in control of these things. To me, it just shows that as a person, he is still trying to figure life out, and he's trying to find God in these hard times. I mean, he might not be making that same on fire for God music that people or his old fan base was expecting years ago, but at the very least, to continue on and to make this type of music and to still try and find God throughout all that, to me, is at least indicative that he's fighting the good fight like the rest of us, and he's doing it while being transparent about it. It's great to see him vlog and put out content, especially in the eyes of other people who would consider him as being on fire for the Lord and everything like that, and it's helping a lot of people. But at the same time, it's also great to see his low points, as weird as it might sound. It's great to see somebody going through something that can relate to other people as well, which is essentially what I believe Jamie has done. I mean, talking about a breakup, which a lot of people have gone through, to make quality music out of that has really attracted a lot of people to Montell's music. And for Montell to continually just, show us that this has been a time for grieving for him, that he's still trying to find God throughout all of this, to me, shows us also that as much as we look up to these artists, I mean, they are vulnerable like the rest of us, and they don't have to be the perfect cut example of our expectations. They're obviously human like the rest of us, and to make music during those times is very helpful in reaching those people who feel alone during those vulnerable moments. Now, all that to say, I don't think Montell has left the faith, as we don't know him personally, but showing concern is a natural response. If people do feel like he's not producing as much Christian content, it doesn't show that he's quote unquote not a Christian anymore, as some people may believe lately. But if you want to show concern and pray for him, then there's nothing wrong with that. But all that to say, where does Montell go from here? Is it okay for your favorite Christian artist to go through these seasons and just grieve and talk about these things? What do you think the next direction will be for him? And also, what's your favorite moment, or I guess album, from Montell, since Montell's been at this for about 6 going on to 7 years now? Let me know below in the comments, guys, and take care. Peace.